Hi friends, this is how I made a fabric rose.
Hi friends, welcome to the channel one more time. In this video, I'm going to be sewing a rose to add to this make. I am going to be sewing this blouse right here, and on this top right here, I will be adding a big rose. I kind of want to how you say the word? I want to experiment on this blouse because I've seen it in my head. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the roses before I sew this. So I have most of them, the petals already cut out and sewed, but I just want to show you with the very last one that how I did all of them. Okay, so I have here a piece. It's the mid-weight stabilizer. I use this stabilizer. Okay, and then I cut. I let's do it this way. First, I went online and I got these drawings and I print them out, and then I cut the fabrics of it's supposed to be you're supposed to cut 6 of each, but in my case I only cut 5 because I didn't want it so big. But you could cut it as many or as big as large as you want your rose. So what I did was I cut 5 of each except for the um except for the three no the two last petals because they're different sizes. So this is a large, and I have a medium, and then I have a small, and then I have a extra small. So those are 4, and then we have the round thing, and I'll show you step by step, but I want to show you how I did this. Okay, so this is the what do you call this again, the stabilizer. The reason I use stabilizer is because I want the rose to stay a little, like it is right now. You see, like that, like this, once it's on the blouse. And then this fabric that I cut is a stretchy type of like sweater. I don't know what I would call this, cotton, but that's what I have for that. Okay, I really don't know what's the name of this fabric, but it's kind of like a sweater type of thing. See, the it stretches a little this way and then a little that way. But anyways, because that's going to be the sweater. But so what I do is I put the two fabric. Once I cut the rose petal, I add them together. I had them add together already, but for showing you, see, so I do them. I add them together like so. Uh-huh. Okay. And then I add the stabilizer on the top, and then I go to the machine and I stitch. I leave this open right here. I stitch all the way around. Of course, I'm going to pin it, and then I'll be back to show you when I'm going to turn it around to show you, and then we'll start on the rows.
Okay friends, so we just finished sewing it all the way around. And so what we're going to do is in the middle here, and we're going to turn it inside out, kind of smoothing out the edges like so, so that that little petal that it will have a little bit of curve. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just curvy like this. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to go to the iron and iron it flat. Okay, so let me show you. I just wanted to show you how I made all of them. Each one I cut two fabrics and one um, stabilizer. You could put a fabric, you could put anything in there to thicken it up, or you could just leave it just two fabrics. But I like the stabilizer because I want it, depending on what you want your roses for and what type of fabric you use. Okay, so I do have to sew this around because this is going to be the flat of the rose. Okay, so I have all of these cut already, and I'm going to go to the iron and get all of them ironed. These are what is going to make that rose happen. Oh, very important, and I forgot because I just saw this. You have to do at least one 1 inch of like a dart right here, and I forgot it because see how all of these had the darts. I really did forget, so I will be putting the darts, and then I'm going to iron it, all of them, and then we'll put this rose together. Okay friends, so now we are going to start on the um, roses. On the rose, it's one rose I'm going to make here.
So these are the petals all ironed out. And this stand do not need any um, stabilizer unless you want it. It depends on what you are using your rose for. Okay, so I you will see why I did not iron out mine, not iron, use a stabilizer. So we need this cup right here. You can use anything that is round, but it would be nice if it has a steep. Okay, so I decided to use this one because this did the job. So the first ones that we're going to add is the medium ones. I would say the small ones, but the small one it can be done later, like the last. So the medium ones, you're going to put it this way. And this is the wrong side, which is the dart that I told you to put, that I forgot to put. So I'm going to put this on this side first because there's the handle. The handle is not going to hurt anything unless you want to let it do. So what I'm going to do is add two at a time because as I put, if you want, you could put glue gun on it, or you can, depending if you're doing paper or if you're doing fabric. I am doing fabric, and you could put, you can use the paper, the glue gun if you want to. But because this is going to be on a garment that I may be taking off or may have to leave it on for dry cleaning, I am going to sew it on each one. So that's why I might take a little longer because I'm going to be sewing each one. So what I'm going to do is put the second one like so, and make sure that the darts are up. Okay, so we're going to make sure that they are on the same size on the inside like this, not one longer or shorter, whatever, just like that. So now that I have two, and you could have it like halfway on top of each other like that. So then what you're going to do, if you want to stitch yours, um, I am going to just base it on so they can stay and use it as if that was the glue. Okay, so I'm going to come in right here on the edge, and this is the first time I'm doing this, so if I make a mistake, whatever. But I'm going to lift it up a little so that I can get down in there. And I'm going to just make one big or one large, well, two. Just put it like that. And then I'm going to lock the stitch in. Lock it in like so. Okay. Lock it in like so. And then cut it and go ahead like this. If you have to move around, then you could just stick this like this. Okay. And then get the other one. So I'm going to do this right here like this. And I'm going to just hold it there. But because I need this space here, let's go here like this. Okay, I only have 5 of each one, so I may have to go a little bit wider to give it room. Okay, and so we're going to do this, and then we take this stitch again, and we're going to stitch. I didn't lock that. I put a knot on the end, so but that's okay. This stitch is only so that it can go around and stay together, so I don't have to use a glue because I don't want to use glue. This is a garment. For a garment. Okay, so we go to the next, and that's what we're going to be doing with the petals, going around, going around. And here we're going to do this, and we're going to sew again. Okay, stitch it on, glue it together. So I am going to go ahead and go all the way around and come back to the very last. And when I get to the very last one, I will show you, and then I will be done with that. So, okay. So I am going to go ahead, making sure this stays like this, okay? So that's why you may want to use some clip or whatever you use to have stuff stay. So I'm going to have this like this. Then I'm going to continue to go around with the other ones and go around. When I get to the last one, then I'll come back and show you, okay? Okay, so I think that is important for me to show you this part. So I only had 5 and there's a space, okay? So remember, we're going to make sure that everything, we're just going to put it in like this and make sure that it's the same size. Just put it on top. In this case now, because it's layered, we're going to have to stitch both sides to stick it together, okay? Stitch this one that's on top of here and this one. And then we go around and put the other one. So same thing, you just stitch it. So we are going to hold these down and then go ahead and stitch both sides, this side and this side, because this is going to be sewed to the one on this side. Okay, sew it together and or base it together and come out of there, go on the other side and do the same on the other side, which I'm going to do that. Okay, friends, so this right here is the last petal that I'm going to be adding on. Okay, so we'll just do this here. I wanted to show that to you, but what I did, this is the last part that is going to go in the middle. I am going to stitch them together just 1 inch here,
1 inch here and 1 inch here, and then it should look like this. Then after I turn this rose around, then I'll stick this in the middle and then sew it on. This right here is gonna put, is gonna when I turn it around, this should go on top of here, and then it should be stitched on. So I may come back and have these pinned to make sure that this base does not come apart. Okay, friends, so we are done with the rose, and we are going to turn it around and add this middle. We have to go ahead and finish this rose so that we can go ahead and stitch that blouse. All right, so let's get this off, and this is how we're going to turn it around to take this out. Here is the rose right here. So this part right here is what we are going to be working with, stitching this part on it like this. It should go in here like this. I know it looks really bad in there, but this is, should go like this and stitch this down. Then what we're going to do is stitch this down. Once I finish stitching all this together, I am going to go to the sewing machine and stitch this, since I could keep it all together, because the idea of basing it around together and pinning it is so that I can either sew it by hand or the sewing machine. But I think I can go ahead and do the sewing machine, except for the middle. I do the middle like this, and this should be the blouse. I mean, I'm sorry, this should be the rose. After that, I will sew the bottom so that I can turn this bottom down like in a round, so we could put it between the shoulder, or we can either stitch it on or make it on or off. So I think I'm going to do it where, if I want to wear the rose on my shoulder, or if I don't want to wear it, either way. But I'm not going to make it permanent on the shoulder. So I'll be back when I'm all finished with the sewing machine on this. What do you think about it? Would you like to sew one of these roses? Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. If you like this rose, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, friends. Now, let me explain. So I already finished sewing up. Let me show you. Stitching around with my hands, everything to let it looks, it's a rose. Okay. So what I'm going to do is fold it up like this for now. But it still looks like a rose. Okay. And then with the cup, I am going to put it in here, and we are going to be working with the bottom part. Okay. So remember the round piece, we're going to fold it like this. This part is opened up, and we're going to stitch here. But we're not going to stitch that there now. We're just going to pin it, because we're going to put like a brooch or a button here, because we're going to sew this here. We're going to sew this onto the bottom of the rose, so that when we put it on the shoulder of the blouse, you can either wear the blouse with the rose or without the rose. So this part will be sewn, stitched around like this, keeping this open so that I could put a button or a brooch or whatever to put it, the shoulder. We could put this over the shoulder, and if you'll see. So that's how we do that part. I just thought I'll show you that just in case. So I will be finishing up this rose with this, and then I'll be going starting on the blouse. Okay, friends, so today we are going to finish up the blouse, which is going to be easy, like super easy. We just take we take the pattern off of it, like I did this one last night, but I got tired. And then we just place it really, we are going to place it here, like so. And then we take the other ones off. And then we're going to place this on top of the front. This is the front right here, and this will be the back of the one shoulder. So we're going to add them together, stitch them on the shoulder and to the sides. As we take this off, we lay this here, and then we're going to add it like this, and look for those notches and match those notches. Right, so what are we going to do is spin all the way down the sides, bend the sides all the way down to here. Okay, pin straight down here. Well, let's do it here. And then on the other side, this is a 1 day, it's probably like 2 hours or less. But what made it so long is because I am trying to make a rose to go on the top of that sleeve of that shoulder. So we pin it to the sides, then we're going to pin up here. Pin it up here, and then there is the other notch for there. And we pin. And then we're going to take it to the machine and stitch here, and also stitch there. Once we're done there, we are going to come back so we can add this zip, this, I think I should put the, yeah, I'll add the sleeves. Okay. Now we're going to finish up here. We're going to add the sleeves, and we are going to turn the sleeves inside out. Okay, there we are. It's already sewed inside out, and this is the right side. So we are going to add the sleeve in here like this way inside, because this is the right side. Okay, and then we're going to look for the seam and the seam here, and we're going to pin the seam, right here, that way, and one this way. Okay, where are the pins? Right here. So we're pinning. We're going to pin all the way around. We're going to look for this notch. Here is a notch on the sleeve. Here's the notch that goes to this right here. So we're going to add this like that. And we go all the way around pinning. But we'll look for the other notch over here. Let's go ahead and just kind of like put this straight down here. All right. So that way we can see. So we're going down in here and look for the other notch. And we pin the notch. So what we're going to do is go pin all the way around. What I usually do, and I didn't do it this time, is to find the center of here. So I'm going to I'm going to trust that this is the center right here. On the top. And I'm going to put like a little teeny weeny notch right there. So that will guide me to the top seam right here. And we're going to pin it. And the rest that is unpinned, we'll just go around and pin it. See, that's another way to put the sleeves on. But my favorite is before it's sewn. But I guess this one, because I have to put a elastic, I don't want to be confused and mess it all up. So we add the pin. We do the sleeves a different way. So here is the sleeve in there, all pinned. So when we stitch it, we'll turn it out. Okay, we'll go stitch the sleeve, and then we'll come back to add the elastic and the hem. Okay, friends, so here is the sleeves are all sewn now. So let's turn it out. Okay, let's turn the sleeves out, and then we are going to add the elastic, and this part of the elastic is the camera on. Okay, so this side of the elastic is going to be here. We will add this here. I want to put this way, that way I could see it if I need to cut it. So we'll pin it right here for now. Like so. And then we are going to continue to pin because we're going to bring it this down like this and then stitch on the bottom right here. So we'll leave a little space, like 1/8 of an inch space from the neck. Okay, we bring it down like so, but right now I don't want to do that. I just want to pin it, and as I go sewing, and I take the pin out and I'll turn this way. This is the front right here. So here we go. We pin all the way around. Okay, and we wanna, while we're sewing, we may have to pull as we go, just, you know, it all depends. This nail right here, it gets in my way a lot, but I don't want to cut it. I cut it half one time and it grew back, and I just leave it alone. So I'm surprised that it has not broken like every one of the rest of them, but I don't know. So we continue to go around like this. This stitch here is going to go this way, and that's the front, towards the front. We go like this, and the stretch is just going to be a little bit. Now it's not going to be a whole lot. It looks like it's not going to be a whole lot. See, just a little stretch, but I'll just spin it, and then when it's time to stitch it, then I'll pull it that it will get to that point. Okay, I have it pinned, and I'm going to start to stitch. My first stretch is going to be a slight one, very slight, and then I'm going to stitch down here, okay, and leaving, and it should look a little stitch right there. So let's take it to the sewing machine and I'll show you. Okay, friends, here is the one shoulder long sleeve, one long sleeve, and here the elastic is in here, the hem is all added, everything is finished, even the roses. And this is the fabric rose that we experimented on, so we're going to be adding it on here. This right here was to add on a sleeve, a sleeveless, and so I forgot that this one has a sleeve, so if anything, I may have to put this button in here so that it will hold on here. I just thought of that. So I'm going to finish this up, put it on the mannequin and show you how it looks, and then the next you will be seeing it on me. So thank you so much for taking the time to view this make with me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you on my next video. Hi friends, this blouse right here is 3 pieces of pattern, and it's from the Simplicity Easy, and this is the model that I made right here, and I just added this big rose on the shoulder. So what do you think? It's easy to wear. You can dress it down or you can dress it up, and the fabric is 100% cotton. So what do you think? Would you make this? Would you make this blouse? And I can show you how in one of my videos. I love it. I love it so much I made a white one. Let me show you. Here is what the white one would look like also. And the rose, I made it a little smaller with the sleeves halfway. This one I dressed it up. So this is what it would look like. I just add a little red on it because I didn't want it to look all white because it's not for a white party. I don't do white parties unless I'm going to get baptized, and I already got baptized. So what do you think? Would you make this in any color? Friends, thanks for watching the video. Would you make this blouse? See you on the next one.